The conference hall aboard the Galactic Council station hummed with the sterile efficiency of 1,000 worlds united under one banner. Desiree Chen stood at the human delegation's podium, her dark eyes scanning the assembled representatives with barely contained fury. For 3 standard years, humanity had played by their rules, had bent and scraped and apologized for simply existing. "The motion stands," announced Ambassador Quellis of the Zentari Collective, his tri-jointed limbs gesturing dismissively. "Humans will surrender all military vessels beyond orbital defense platforms. Your species' violent tendencies are well documented. This is for the galaxy's safety." Desiree's knuckles whitened as she gripped the podium. Behind her, James Rodriguez, humanity's military liaison, placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. She could feel the tension radiating from him, the same rage that burned in her own chest. "Ambassador Quellis," Desiree's voice cut through the murmurs like a blade. "Humanity has honored every treaty, every agreement, every insulting restriction you've placed upon us. We've shared our technology, our medicine, our art, and still you treat us like rabid animals that need to be caged." The Zentari's chitinous faceplates clicked in what might have been amusement. "You come from a Deathworld, Diplomat Chen, a planet of such extreme conditions that it breeds nothing but aggression and paranoia. Your very evolution is a testament to violence. The Council has decided." "The Council has overstepped," James interrupted, his voice carrying the weight of a man who had seen too much combat. He stepped forward, and Desiree noticed how the alien delegates shifted nervously. They always did when James moved. He was tall for a human, scarred, and carried himself with the predatory grace that came from surviving Earth's worst conflicts. "Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez," Quellis hissed, "you are out of order." "No," James said calmly, pulling out a data tablet. "You are. While you've been congratulating yourselves on containing humanity, you've forgotten something crucial about Deathworlders. We pay attention." The holographic display flickered to life above the assembly floor. Images cascaded through the air, Zentari warships moving into formation near human colonies, Velcrin diplomatic vessels carrying weapons-grade materials, encrypted communications between council members discussing the human problem. The hall erupted into chaos. Desiree smiled coldly. "You thought we wouldn't notice? You've spent 3 years telling us we're too violent, too dangerous, too primitive. But you never stopped to consider that a species forged in violence might be exceptionally good at recognizing it in others." "This is preposterous," Quellis stood, his voice rising to a screech. "These are doctored images." "Human propaganda!" "They're not," came a new voice. Ambassador Threll of the Korvax Unity, one of humanity's few allies, rose from her seat. Her crystalline form refracted the light into rainbow patterns across the chamber. "The Korvax have independently verified these findings. The Council has been preparing for a preemptive strike against human space." The revelation hit like a shockwave. Delegates began shouting, some in support of humanity, others in denial, still others in fear of what this meant for galactic stability. James continued, his voice cutting through the noise with military precision. "You call us violent? Earth has known peace for less than 10% of its recorded history. You're right about that, but you know what that means? It means we're really, really good at war, and we've had 3 years to study every species in this council, every weakness, every strength, every military doctrine you've ever used." Desiree took over seamlessly. "We came to the stars hoping for peace. We wanted to be part of something bigger than ourselves. We endured your condescension, your restrictions, your constant surveillance because we believed in the dream of a united galaxy." Her voice hardened. "But you've made it clear that we will never be equals in your eyes, only threats to be managed or eliminated." "So here's what's going to happen," James said, and the temperature in the room seemed to drop. "The human fleet, our entire fleet, not just the ships you know about, is currently surrounding this station and every major council military installation in this sector." The revelation sent the chamber into pandemonium. Delegates scrambled for their communication devices but found them blocked. James smiled grimly. "For 3 years you've had spies watching our shipyards. What you didn't know is that we've been building our real fleet in the Oort clouds and asteroid fields, in places where only a species crazy enough to come from a death world would think to look. We've been using the restrictions you placed on us as camouflage." Desiree activated another holographic display. The galaxy map showed hundreds of human vessels, each one marked with specifications that made the alien delegates' chromatophores pale, or their thermal signatures spike in alarm. "We don't want war," Desiree said softly, but her voice carried to every corner of the silent chamber. "Despite everything, we still believe in the dream. But we will not be disarmed. We will not be corralled. And we will not be exterminated because you're afraid of what we might become." Quellis had collapsed back into his seat. His confidence evaporated. You violated dozens of treaties. The council will do nothing," James interrupted. "Because the moment your fleet moved, the moment we detected your warships positioning for attack, peace ended. Not because we wanted it to, but because you forced our hand. Every species in this chamber needs to understand something fundamental about humanity." He leaned forward, and in that moment, every delegate saw not a diplomat or a soldier, but an apex predator from a world that had tried to kill his species for millions of years and failed. "We are not violent because we enjoy it. We are violent because our world demanded it for survival. But we are also the species that domesticated wolves, that turns enemies into allies, that reaches out in friendship even when we've been hurt. We are capable of extraordinary compassion and unspeakable brutality, often in the same breath. You wanted to see us as monsters? Congratulations. You've created exactly what you feared." Desiree's expression softened slightly, but it's not too late. "Stand down your forces. Acknowledge humanity as equals, not subordinates or threats. Honor the principles this council was supposedly founded upon. Do this and the human fleet will return to defensive positions. We'll even share the stealth technology we developed, freely as partners." "And if we refuse?" Quellis whispered. "Then you'll discover why Earth didn't just breed soldiers," James said quietly. "It bred survivors, and survivors do whatever it takes." The silence stretched for what felt like an eternity. Finally, Ambassador Threll spoke. "The Korvax unity recognizes humanity's right to self-defense and moves for a full vote on equal council membership." One by one, other delegates began to voice their support, some reluctantly, others with genuine respect. Quellis and his faction remained silent, defeated not by human weapons but by the realization that they had fundamentally misunderstood what it meant to be from a death world. As the vote proceeded, Desiree caught James's eye. He nodded slightly and she allowed herself a small smile. They had gambled everything on this moment, had pushed humanity to the brink of galactic war, but in doing so, they had secured something more valuable than victory. They had secured respect. The galaxy would never underestimate humanity again.